Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way. Happy New Year to all of our viewers. First and foremost, thank you for everything that you've done in 2024. We hope that you can join us all of the days in 2025 as well when we go live with both pre and post match videos and morning briefings as well. My name is Ryan McGinley. Today, this afternoon, I'm delighted to be joined by Tony Haggerty, who's currently in Ibrox just now. Tony, it's Celtic versus Rangers. It's the Glasgow Derby. It's the build-up. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Ryan, and Happy New Year to everybody who's tuning in. I hope you had a good one. First thing I want to say about today, Ryan, as much as it's about rivalry, it's also about respect and remembrance. And 66 people 54 years ago went to this very stadium and lost their lives watching a game of football, sadly. And don't care what team you support, I think these things have to be remembered and honoured. And at some point today, I think it's worth mentioning and taking a minute just to remember that fact that 66 Rangers supporters perished on that sad and tragic day in 1971. And I wanted to say that first and foremost. Rivalry is great, but respect and remembrance is also important as well. And I think, just remember them. And as I said there, but for the grace of God, go you and I, because we did the very same as them and have attended football matches in various places. And I've been fortunate and lucky to still be able to do that. So just wanted to pay my respect to the 66 that sadly died on this day 54 years ago. But yeah,
Absolutely.
Glasgow Derby, what a way to kick off the year. Sorry, Ryan, on you go. And it's an intriguing one, isn't it, for many factors. But that's a
Very
strong
weird
team.
one. Yeah, it's a strong team, and I'm just going to read out the team in full, Tony. So it's Casper Schmeichel starts in goals, a back four of Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnson left to right. Cal McGregor plays at the base of midfield alongside Paulo Bernardo and Rio Hatate, who play further forward. Get Kyogo Furuhashi through the middle. On the left wing is Daizen Maeda, and on the right wing is Nicholas Kuhn. The subs for this afternoon are Sinisalo, Trusty, Palma, Ida, Baye, Yang, McCowan, Engels, and Ralston. Yeah, an interesting one, Tony, isn't it? It's been an interesting build-up to this game. I thought there'd be a little bit more fanfare than what there is at the moment, but I think that's maybe down to how the two teams are playing. There's been various injury problems in the Rangers camp. I'll read out their team as we go on. But yeah, it's a Glasgow derby, and just looking forward to getting into this one.
Yeah, indeed. It's I think the biggest surprise in the Celtic team is the fact that Engels is missing from that lineup. I think lots of people would have thought back-to-back man of the match awards. That was one of the first names on the team sheet, but he's gone for Bernardo. But I think we spoke about Bernardo in the lead up to this and saying that Bernardo's been here and played here before and maybe gets the benefit of the doubt on that one in terms of that experience. But Engels can come on certainly after the hour mark and see and experience the fixture again. But I think maybe that's why he's plumped for Bernardo in this situation. As you can see, I'm in the Ibrox media room, so apologies for any background noise or people walking by the screen, whatever it does happen. So we are live in here. So yeah, indeed. But it's still a strong lineup, Ryan. I think it's more or less what everybody would have predicted, isn't it? Some people might have thought Trusty would come back in for Scales, but yellow jersey, you know my thoughts behind that. And Ike's fine, Greg Taylor might have been the other shout, but the rest of the team really picks itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the whole team picks itself apart from the left back position, if I'm being perfectly honest, Tony. I think Scales has played the last 2-3 games, and he was all. I think if Trusty was going to play, then he would have played one of the games beforehand in the lead up to this. I think they're just allowing him to get back into the team. He did play a lot of games between September and December, so maybe they're giving him a wee bit of time outside the team, maybe working on some tactical stuff. He was taken off at half-time in the last Glasgow derby between the two sides due to tactical reasons, not due to injury. Then he had that illness, so it's unfortunate timing, but Liam Scales can certainly do a job. He's been there, he's done it, and he's done it at Ibrox as well. I seem to remember him coming in for a bit of a baptism of fire back 2 Septembers ago. against Rangers with that 1-0 when that 1-0 Kyogo win, and he was arguably, in fact, I think he was man of the match on the day. He put out a lot of fires that afternoon. I'm just having a wee look at the Rangers team, Tony, and there is quite a few players that have missed out for Rangers. No James Tavernier. There is no Leon Balogun, despite people saying that he might make this game today.
Yeah.
So I'll just read it as in terms of the lineup that I've got here. So you've got this is in no order. I'm just using this on live score just for quickness. So you've got Yilmaz, Crawford, Diomande, Bajrami, Cherny, Sterling, Yefty, Igaman, Hadji, Kelly, and Raskin. So it's a forcefully rotated side from Rangers. It's still a Rangers side at home, and it won't be a pushover. And Celtic have got to go about this the right way this afternoon, haven't they?
It's funny how you mentioned that Kyogo game, Ryan. I sat here in this very spot in that game when Celtic were kind of decimated and had to make a lot of changes, and people were saying it was going to be a landslide victory for Rangers, and it didn't turn out that way. I'd spent the whole week saying that Brendan Rodgers would come up with a team good enough to beat Rangers, and as it transpired, they did. But the mood music heading into that was how Celtic were going to fall to Rangers, and by a handsome margin. Now, the mood music's very similar in this, but it's in reverse. And I think the one thing that beats Celtic today, if at all, is complacency. But I just don't think the manager and those players are capable of that. I could be wrong, but that's why you can never ever really predict the score or what's going to happen in a derby match, because these things are always, are thrown up, anomalies creep in or whatever. But a makeshift Celtic team that day trying against Rangers when Kyogo scored. And I always say this and couch this with, as much as the mood music favours Celtic very much, and you look at those two team lineups today, and you can't see past Celtic. You're playing the only team capable of beating you in your competitive league, and you have to always be mindful of that. But what a chance Celtic have to, I hate saying make statements, because I just think that's a bit too melodramatic, but they've got a great chance to take a massive stride forward by, in the worst case scenario, as we said, they leave Ibrox 11 points ahead, 14 points ahead, or 17. Go and make it 17, because they're well capable of doing that.
Is it too early to see it be one hand on the trophy, Tony, if you win today? Is it too early to put out those sort of statements? Because, being 17 points clear, if you get a win against Rangers, or even a draw, and the status quo remains, it's still a real statement of intent, isn't it, Tony? I mean, even 11 points is a massive gap between the two sides, but I think in terms of momentum, if Celtic can get the win today, you'd think that would put to bed any talk of a title race between Celtic and Rangers. 17 points in January is too insurmountable a gap, you would presume, wouldn't you?
I think the manager will curtail talk of that. It'll be the media and everybody else that will say one hand wrapped around the Scottish Premiership trophy, but certainly the manager and players won't feel like that. And that's the way they've been able to continue to be successful, because they don't look too far ahead. They leave that to others to say those kind of things. But I don't think you'll be able to stop that kind of talk, Ryan, if Celtic win today. It's inevitable that people will say it's a foregone conclusion. And as I say, I don't think Celtic have ever came to Ibrox in January with that cushion, where even if you do, the worst case scenario is you leave Ibrox 11 points in front, which is still a wonderful cushion and gap to have. But you're playing today, you really could end the reign of the opposition manager today by posting up a victory, and depending on the type and the manner of that victory, it could end the reign of Philippe Clement. And there's a lot of Rangers supporters who will be in the stadium today possibly wishing that to happen. I think a lot of them have run out of patience with them and the team, and maybe want something, but that's their concern. Celtic's concern is to come here and win the match.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact is that this should be the last game, the last Glasgow Derby in which there's no opposition fans, and just my personal opinion, I'm glad that's the case. I'm glad that there'll be supporters in the next one at Celtic Park. You would hope, if the safety protocols have been filled out and sorted and adhered to, then opposition fans can make the Glasgow Derby. Because for me personally, that's what makes the derby, the opposition fans and the fans, that rivalry between the two clubs, and having that that representation at the stadium. Obviously, safety concerns aside, you just hope that there is that rivalry, because I think it's what makes a rivalry. How important is it today, Tony, that Celtic can get the home side or the home fans to turn on the home side by inflicting as much damage as possible early doors, by not conceding early, by scoring if they can early, and really allowing that crowd that's already annoyed with the way that things are going even more annoyed, and whip them into a bit of a frenzy this afternoon? How important is that, do you think?
I think that's your MO today. Callum McGregor and Brendan Rodgers have been through the course before with this kind of stuff, but Celtic have been the ones that have been able to handle not having their supporters in attendance at these football matches, Ryan. Traditionally, since this started, the banning of away fans, it's Celtic that's coped with it the most and the better of the two sides. It's been to Rangers' detriment. So, and I think, and I said it on Friday, there's a desperation about Rangers and their supporters, and it could be their undoing today. And I think this is one of those derbies where Celtic are in a wonderful state of mind going into this. They can relax. The pressure's all on Rangers to get a result, because, as you say, in terms of the title race, it's 3 points, but they'll still be 11 clear. That's the worst case scenario, but a lot of variables have to happen for that to happen. Celtic would really need to be off it, and I mean off it big time. So if Celtic turn up at all, there's every chance that they will silence that huge crowd. And if I'm that Celtic team, you have a go at that defence. That's a defence that can be got at, and you test the goalkeeper early doors as well. It's all right saying that Butland's been off the boil recently. That's fair enough, but Liam Kelly's not played that much football, so you've got to test him as well very, very early. And it's there for Celtic, Brian, is what I'm trying to say. I think it's there for the taking today. And we all say it, they need to turn up, yeah, but if Celtic really turn up, there's a chance to really tighten the screw here and go 17 ahead, make that statement in an emphatic style.
Absolutely. Tony, who do you think are going to be the main men today for Celtic to get this victory? Do you look at that midfield, the fact that Paulo Bernardo's done it before, Hatate's done it before, Callum McGregor's done it before, they've all got experience in this fixture. Do you look at Nicholas Kuhn and Daisen Maeda, who both have goals against Rangers in their career? You couldn't say that last time out. Do you look at Kyogo, whose record is incredible? Do you look at that defence, who have got wins against Rangers, loads of wins combined? Kasper Schmeichel, who's been there, done it, and bought the T-shirt in his professional football career. Who do you look at as being the big player today for Celtic, or players?
Nicholas Kuhn for me, Ryan, is a huge player for Celtic. And also Kyogo Furuhashi chasing a ninth career goal against Rangers. That is an incredible record. Don't see him not scoring that ninth career goal today. And Hatate will be a big player as well for me in terms of his creativity. And as you say, Bernardo just to show things up, and McGregor just being his solid self. And I've no qualms about Bernardo being there. If anything, I really rate Bernardo as a footballer. I've spoken about him many times on the podcast. I feel as relaxed as I can. Normally, if an £11 million player wasn't playing, I'd be asking serious questions, especially since Arnott Engels has turned it on the past couple of games. But it's a surprise to me, but it's not really, because Bernardo's been excellent as well. So I'm just happy that we have that strength and depth, and Arnott Engels will get his chance to come on and strut his stuff at Ibrox at some point. I'm just hoping that the game will be effectively won as a contest when he comes on to do it and he inflicts more damage. But I always talk about the midfield three and the front three, that front six as I call it, but they're your match winners today. Every one of them, and also the likes of Ian Scales and Cameron Carter-Vickers just keeping Rangers form players quiet, if you can call them form players. I'm talking about the likes of Tierney, Igimani and Danilo. If he plays, they're capable of scoring, but I think these guys are capable of putting the shackles on them.
Yeah, do you look at the Rangers lineup and see potential weaknesses as well? I know that their team's been rotated, but even in terms of the players that are playing, you look at Jeffy, who struggled against Nicholas Kuhn. He actually had to get taken off in the second half. due to that battle that was forming between the two players. Of course, there's no James Tavernier today, so Dyson Maeda won't be coming up against his opposite player, his marker, that's been so fruitful for him in the past. Do you look at the likes of Dujon Sterling, that'll be playing out of position? He'll probably be playing at right back today as proper, and there's been so many changes. You're having to look and see who's actually playing. Proper, and it'll be Proper and Sterling, won't it? Or
Yeah, I thought Yilmaz will play right back up
yes,
against
good
Maeda.
shout, good shout. Yeah, Yilmaz and Jeffrey will play in the two full back areas. So it's Sterling and Robin Proper, two players that really struggled last time out, or one of the last times out, against Motherwell and St Mirren, respectively. That's got to be an area where Celtic target, isn't it?
You have to go hell for leather at them, Ryan, from the off, and see what they've got, because the potential they could crumble. And that Ridvan Yilmaz will be like, okay, let's see how I can handle Dyson Maeda, but you'll still not be looking forward to it. It'll be an uncomfortable afternoon. And Kuhn's just a wonderful outlet, isn't he? These are the games you're judged upon, aren't they? So you want that kind of breakout performance from the likes of Kuhn in a game of this magnitude. Kyogo and Dyson have had those kind of performances. And if the service is there, then Kyogo will thrive upon that. But that back four of Rangers has to be something you target, Ryan. It has to be from the get-go. From the get-go. And I think Celtic will. And also the goalkeeper. If I'm of a mind, I'm picking the ball up 25, 30 yards from goal. I'm hitting it towards the goalkeeper, Ryan, straight away. Shoot on sight for me.
Yeah.
And see what he's got.
I'm thinking that Celtic would have been doing that regardless, just with the way that Jack Butland's playing as well. But for Liam Kelly, it's a bit of a baptism of fire for him to be coming into. I know we played one game previously, but to make your second appearance for Rangers, a team that he supports, coming on against Celtic, having that start against Celtic, it's a big deal for him, and it's one that he'll have to deal with the pressure, because there is a lot of pressure on Rangers today. Just before, and I'll ask everybody actually what their score predictions is going to be, maybe first goal scorer as well. Get them in the comments. I'll try and read out as many as I can. Tony, I just want to touch on someone that you were talking about 5 minutes ago with Arne Engels. Can he feel aggrieved that he's not in the starting lineup today? And that Paulo Bernardo is, two man of the match performances against Motherwell and St Johnstone, respectively. It was decent in both games. Can you feel aggrieved that he's not in the starting lineup today for Celtic?
I hope he does, Ryan, because that's the action I want. I want him to be banging the manager's door and saying, "Why am I not in the starting 11?" And I'm hoping that Brendan Rodgers will explain why. Because he favours Bernardo. So the next time, make sure you're in that starting 11. There's not much more Arne Engels could have did in the lead up to this match, but the manager still favoured Bernardo because maybe there's that bit of experience in this fixture that he feels that Bernardo should get the nod. So Arne Engels, take the lesson from that and just say, okay, by the time the fixture rolls around at Celtic Park, make sure you're in the start 11. And that's the challenge for Engels. But yeah, I hope he does feel aggrieved, because you want your players to feel like they're missing out on these big occasions. And he's not missing out through lack of form, right? Because he's been in the best form since he started his Celtic career. He's clearly missing out because of something tactical that the manager feels he's better with Bernardo starting this football match. And that's fair enough. Sometimes you have to, and possibly the experience. So as your Celtic career grows, you will get that experience and you will play in these fixtures, but make sure you're ready for when he turns to you to make that impact after an hour or whatever that may be, that you're ready for it. And you say to him, this is why I should have started.
Not a bad player to bring on off the bench, Tony, is
Correct.
what I would say, definitely. As well as Luke McCowan, to bring him on. Two players that can really change the tempo of a game positively for Celtic if they need them to, or if you need to rotate in the second half due to maybe the game already being over, fingers crossed that's the case. But you never know the way these games go. You can never predict these games or correctly
No.
predict these games. I feel they are a mind of their own. They've got a life of their own, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm going to bring up some of these predicted score lines, Tony. Stephen McFarlane says 5-0 to Celtic, Kyogo hat-trick. Need to remind everybody, we still are playing at Ibrox against Rangers, remember? They don't go that easily all the time. Aero 250, a new person in the comments, thank you for joining us. 3-1 to Celtic, I presume that is. Natalie McMullen says 4-0. Des Harkin always in the comments, thank you. 3-1 to the Celts. George says 7-1. Happy New Year. Didn't read the second half of that there. I think that was a Home Alone reference. Mark Fairfield, 7-1, Dyson Maeda hat-trick. He has been scoring against Rangers in recent weeks and months and years as well, you could say. 3-0, says Scott Melville. Cardiff Carroll says we'll win 3-0. Frank Bell says 3-1 to the Hoops. We've got so many here. Tony, I'm going to ask for your prediction. How do you see this game going this afternoon?
I think both teams will score, Ryan, but I think Celtic will be too strong. I'm going to say 3-1 as well.
Okay. I'm going to go one up on that, and I'm going to say 4-1 to Celtic. I think there's goals here for Celtic. I look at the back line for Rangers. I see goals being conceded. I don't see Celtic keeping a clean sheet. This is Ibrox after all. It's difficult to keep a clean sheet, especially with the whole crowd against you. Things happen in these games. You know, mistakes happen, uncharacteristic goals happen. You can never really predict the derby, but I do predict that Celtic will win this contest and go 17 points clear of Rangers. Just looking at the two teams, looking at how the two teams are playing at the moment, looking at the upturn in form for Celtic, the downturn in form for Rangers, I just feel that Celtic have got too much for Rangers in this game. Would you agree with that, Tony?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly summed up the mood music going into it. I said earlier, it's here for Celtic. You know, if Celtic turn up and they play and they're professional and clinical, they win this football match, Ryan. They have a better team with stronger players, and Rangers are up against it today. So everybody's prediction hopefully will come true in that sense. As I say, the better teams usually win these games, and I think Celtic today, on paper, looking at those two teams, Celtic are the better team by a considerable distance. We'll wait and see if that manifests itself in the scoreline.
Yep, I think that's everything, Tony, that we've needed to cover with regard to the team. We've talked about all the players individually. We've talked about the contest as a whole, what this could mean for both managers, if a certain result goes a certain way. All that's left for me to say is thank you very much to everybody that's joined us on this stream, 925 people for a pre-match show. We thank each and every one of you. If you want to support us just that little bit more, you can join our YouTube members channel, which is just £2.99 a month. By doing that, you'll receive early video access, priority comments, and exclusive members chat function. Also, if you're here and you want to be notified when we go live post-match, we will be going live post-match as soon as we get everything else done. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell, and you'll be notified when we go live after the game. On the website today, there'll be Tony's instant analysis, there'll be my player ratings, there'll be Q&As coming from John as well, and players and managers. Thank you very much, Tony. Enjoy the game. Hopefully Celtic get the result that we're all looking for. You get sorted, you get in your seat, and fingers crossed that Celtic get the 3 points. Fingers crossed it's 17 points clear the next time that we are on this broadcast. But thank you to each and every one of you for joining us. We'll see you all after the game. Have a very good day.